Welcome to the MMA Roadshow, episode number 77. My name is John Morgan. Cole Coffee is unfortunately not with me right now. He is in Hidalgo, Texas, or as I've been told to pronounce it right, Hidalgo, Texas. But for us gringos, it's Hidalgo. I, on the other hand, am in San Luis Potosi, Mexico. You may say to yourself, John Morgan, what in the hell are you doing in San Luis Potosi, Mexico? Well, let me tell you a little something, a little behind the scenes of the Morgan family. My 4-year-old son is actually living in Mexico with my wife this year. He is going to preschool, his final year of preschool, down here in San Luis Potosi, Mexico, where my wife grew up. Her family still is here. He's enrolled in a private Catholic school as he is trying to learn Spanish as a little man. So trying to give that man a leg up to be bilingual on the world. So because of that, I have actually not seen my family since the Tuesday of Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz 2, the rematch. What was that, UFC 202? Yeah, it's been that long. That's how long it's been, 4 weeks. So I am taking a little bit of vacation to come down here, see them, celebrate Mexican Independence Day, eat as many tacos as possible, and just enjoy myself, have a little time with them. So seeing seeing my little man about once a month for the next school year is going to be a little bit tough. But because of that, I've essentially volunteered myself to go every single damn UFC show on the road. So that just means if you listen to the road show, you're going to get some better road show content because I'm going to be on the road damn near nonstop. I am not in Hidalgo, Texas for UFC Fight Night 94, but Cold Coffee is, and we'll check in with him in just a little bit. But as soon as this weekend is over, I will be down in Brasilia for UFC Fight Night 95, and then it's up to Portland for Fight Night 96, and then it's over to Manchester for UFC 204, and then it's on to Manila for Fight Night 97. So we're going to be bringing you the best from the road. There's no doubt about it. All right. Even though I'm technically on vacation, even though I'm technically spending time with my family, you know I'm still going to sneak in a little bit of time to do the road show. I wouldn't leave you like that. We haven't left you yet. Episode number 77. A little bit of a historic episode here. You wouldn't expect number 77 to be historic. But if you go back and you look at all the bonus shows, which we just call that and a half episodes, this is actually episode number 100. So a little bit of a celebration to be had. I guess I kind of screwed up not naming these things with the half episode, but they were just supposed to be half episodes. They were supposed to be a little bonus edition, but I get so damn excited talking about fights after they're done that they end up being whole episodes in themselves. So a little bit of a minor celebration, 100. We all like those big round numbers, but as it stands, still 23 weeks away from hitting the actual 100. But celebrate a little history anyway. All right, let's talk about the last couple days. Since we left Cleveland, backlash has been insane. CM Punk, you saw the salary, $500,000. Let me tell you right now, you know it wasn't $500,000. You know it was probably closer to $2 million with the number of pay-per-view buys that came rolling in. I tell you what, I saw a lot of mixed emotions. A lot of people that were happy for CM Punk. A lot of people that were pissed off. Fighters understandably upset. You know, guys that are have been on that grind for a long time and not making that kind of money. But you know, to me, this was honestly a fair wage. Not in his fighting potential, that's for sure. But you look at the amount of attention that he generated. I can tell you right now, as a website operator, everything that we did, CM Punk clicked, and clicked more than I thought it would. To be honest with you, it really was strong, and in a lot of ways, you know, that did become the de facto main event out there. Of course, in Cleveland, Stipe was getting all the love, but nationally and outside of that, I think really CM Punk was the one that was getting the love, and I think he deserved that money. Now, say what you will about the performance, it kind of ended up being what we expected, but I gotta say, I'm not upset about the money that he brought in, and I can understand why people are, but I don't think there's any reason to be. CM Punk just basically went out and did what he was supposed to do. He got media attention, he got his opportunity to fight in the octagon, and didn't go so well for him, but it sounds like he will continue to fight on. I do believe it will not be at the UFC level. I just don't think there's any way Dana White or anybody else in the company can pretend that he's at the UFC level right now. I think that would be a disservice. If he were to get a second fight in the UFC and come in and make that guaranteed $500,000 again, then I would have a problem with it because he's definitely proven himself. But the money was in the mystery. You know, I'll be surprised. I don't think World Series is going to tender that kind of money to him. Bellator may tender that kind of money to him, but I just can't imagine anybody paying. I know I wouldn't pay $60 to see him fight again. So, you know, you can't cash in on him. So I just don't see a major organization laying down the expenses for him. I think he's going to have to return to the minor level, and he said he was up for that. Maybe fight on some regional stage shows. Certainly, I think if the UFC, as we talked about in the bonus edition last week, if they can get him on something that airs on Fight Pass, then I think that would be a good idea for him. But interesting post log to the CM Punk thing, the way people got upset at his disclosed pay. Now, the other thing that I thought was very interesting over the past couple of days, of course, I have been a little bit unplugged as I try to spend a little time with my son and came down here, but the heavyweight fights are all coming together right now. Stipe Miocic, after winning, basically said he wants to sit out a little bit. Definitely wants to go have a honeymoon with his wife. I think they've put that off for quite some time, and deservedly so. Of course, they certainly should get an opportunity to do that. But I also heard that there may be a couple lingering injury issues here and there that he just wants to heal up, and nothing wrong with that. You're the champ. To the victor go the spoils. Take a little bit of time off. I was a little surprised that it looks like Cain Velasquez and Fabricio Verdum are going to fight at UFC 207, which will be in Las Vegas in December. And I got to say, I was a little bit surprised at this matchmaking, man. I really thought that Cain Velasquez was essentially guaranteed himself a title shot with that amazing UFC 200 performance against Travis Brown. And I figured Cain would probably just sit out and wait. I mean, Cain has certainly had his times of waiting over the course of his career, and I thought maybe he'd be willing to sit out and wait for Stipe Miocic, but it doesn't look like that's the case. It looks like he wants to stay busy, and he's saying that it's personal against Fabricio Verdum, and everything that we're hearing at MMAjunkie is that this fight is basically a done deal. I did hear there was a little bit of concerns. I think Fabricio, Fabricio really wants a title shot. If nothing else, I think he wants to be guaranteed that he gets a title shot if he wins this fight. But, what other direction would you go in? I mean, if Fabricio Verdum comes out and beats Cain Velasquez, I don't see how you would deny him that rematch. Even if we did just see it earlier this year, I think he would be the number one contender at that point. I think you put him against Stipe Miocic whenever he's ready in early 2017. So I don't think there's going to be any hesitation in the end. I think they're going to get this fight done. I think that's going to happen at UFC 207. Of course, that is also the rumored return date of Ronda Rousey. Would be very interesting to see who they put her up against. I would think that it would probably be a title fight with Amanda Nunes. Amanda seems like she wants to wait around. She knows that's the biggest money fight that she can put together right now. And, of course, Dana White has said that when Ronda returns, she does get a title shot, which I think is fair. She built the division. I know she didn't look great, but she built the division. And I think it would make a lot of sense. That'd be a hell of a co-main event there with Verdum and Cain Velasquez, and then maybe Rousey and Nunes in that main event slot. That would be incredibly interesting. But the one man that kind of leaves out right now, Junior Dos Santos, sitting at number 4 in the latest USA Today Sports MMAjunkie.com MMA heavyweight rankings, and actually had a chance to speak to him in Cleveland, get caught up on him. I think the happiest man in MMA, it seems sometimes, at least when things are going good. He definitely seems in good spirits, and when that guy's in good spirits, he's a lot of fun to talk to. So why don't you just listen to my time here? I'm not having any frosty beverages today. I'm getting ready for family time, so you can still have one if you like. Otherwise, my wife's just looking at me with a bad look. So, well, while you get a frosty beverage, there is a store in a garage like 3 doors down that sells frosty beverages out of their garage. So, Viva Mexico, when you can just walk 3 doors down and grab some beers out of somebody's garage. God bless them. In fact, I just might go do that just to say I did. All right, while I do that, Junior Dos Santos. Well, Junior, let's start first. Just get the health update, man. How's the recovery going? Where are you at? In your recovery, how are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling very well. Thank God I can say that, because actually, I was feeling well, but with this injuries and all these problems. But right now everything is going good, and the doctor just allowed me to go back training, so it's a good part. Shoulder feeling better than ever.
That's awesome. Yeah, such a great performance earlier this year. I mean, you looked fantastic. Was it frustrating at all that you had to stop? Because I would think you'd want to build on that momentum as great as you looked.
Yeah, yeah, that was hard for me, because I was planning to have 3 fights this year, and after that fight, I was, when I got the injury, and then the doctor said, "Man, we have to do a surgery." I said, "My gosh, again?" Because if you remember, in my last fight, I was saying the same thing, like I'm 2 years without suffering with these injuries and all these things, and now everything's gonna work out well. And then I got another surgery, another, injury. It's pretty hard, but I think it's part of the game, they say, right? So let's move on.
Well, you're still smiling about it, right?
Yeah.
You're still laughing. So you've been able to, mentally, you've been able to stay focused and feel good about your training?
Yeah, I'm always, sometimes I feel a little bit sad, down, but when things start to work well again, I'm happy again. So it's part of myself, and yeah, that, like I said, I know there is a lot of things, good things to come, yeah, and I'm looking forward to it.
You kept yourself busy in the meantime, right? Though you did some commentating over the summer. What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, that was amazing. Yeah, I was commentating the boxing match there at the Olympics, and it was amazing. It was really good. And we got the first gold medal.
First gold medal, right?
Yeah, so I brought lucky to them. And the guy who won the gold medal, Robson Conceição, he's from our gym, from my coach Doria gym. So, home.
I was going to say, how cool was that? I wanted to ask you, because I know that was a big moment for the country, but to you to have that personal tie, like, was it inspiring? I mean, what was the feeling like to see that happen?
It was amazing, man. That guy he's so nice, and he deserved that a lot, He works hard every time. Sometimes you're in the gym, talking to each other and playing, around, and he's not that kind of guy, Just after the training, when he got to the gym, he got prepared for the training, and then he trained very, very hard, and then he stopped a little bit to talk with the guys, and all these things. So that was very well deserved.
You're always known for your great boxing skills. Do you guys ever spar and
No, come on. He's a small guy, 60 kilos. Yeah, very small.
That might be a little unfair.
Yeah, unfair for me because he's too fast. I couldn't fight him. He's too fast.
That's awesome. Well, what is the future holding for you? You're free to train now. What's the target date? What are you thinking in your head? When are we going to get to see you again?
Yeah, I'm training already, doing some movements. I can do sparring or things like this right now, because it's just the beginning of my, just the beginning. So, but everything is going good, and I hope, actually, what I want is to fight in December, at the end of November or December, or the beginning of December. I think it's going to be a good time to come back, and fight again, because I also needed that, That's the only thing we do in life, and that's the thing I love to do. So when I'm not fighting, I don't have a fight coming up, I feel like very frustrated, very bad. Things don't look the same for me, So I have to be involved in a fight. I have to be training. I have to be thinking about my opponents, and I have to know that I will collide with against someone at some point there in the future, So I'm looking forward to have my next fight, and this moment that I'm living now, like you just said. My last fight brought me some good things, my last fight against Ben Rothwell. And because I was, listening too much for the opinions of the people, because I agree with that. I have to improve my jiu-jitsu, I have to improve my wrestling, I have to become a better fighter. But I can't forget about my boxing, My boxing made me champion of the world, and I'm so confident in that area, and moving and using my speed, using my boxing skills. So I really believe that I understand all these things better, and I will become stronger for it.
Well, you look at a guy like Damian Maia. I mean, you know, he did good learning everything, but then when he finally just went back to what made him great, that's when it was like
that's the
best success.
That you're completely right. Like Damian Maia, as like some time ago, like long time ago actually, he came to Bahia, Salvador, Bahia, where I used to live there in Brazil, you know, to train with us at the gym, you know, and learn boxing and all these things. And you saw he was trying to box with the guys, to throw some hard punches on the guys, but that wasn't working very well because it's not him. He's a jiu-jitsu guy. That's what he is, you know. So once he accept that and start to using his jiu-jitsu on his fights, man, he's unbelievable.
Yep.
Everybody was saying, hey, this guy had just fought. He just fought against
Carlos Condit.
Carlos Condit, and everybody was saying like, man, that's gonna be tough. Carlos Condit is so good. He's gonna beat Damian Maia. And I was looking, man, if Damian do the same thing he's doing right now, you know, try to take the guy down and using his jiu-jitsu, no chances for Carlos Condit.
Yep.
Two. And then he went there and did was very fast, you know, faster than Matt Brown and all these guys. So that was amazing. I can compare myself a little bit with him.
You're the boxing guy.
Yeah, but I'm in the stand-up side.
Yeah.
You know, he's on the ground and I'm here.
That's awesome. So what are you thinking right now? I mean, I'm sure you want to get back in and against a top-level opponent. I mean, two guys that you fought are fighting for the title this weekend. I mean, are you thinking championship-level fights, or is it more about just kind of getting back in and building a rhythm and making sure you're healthy? What do you see when you get back in there? What kind of opponent do you want to see?
Yeah, I wanna face. Actually, I don't, like I always said, I don't pick opponents, and like, you know, I already fought all these guys, and I wanna fight them, all of them again if I need to. But what I really want is that belt. You know, of course, everybody's here for that belt. You know, all the athletes, they want to have the chance to have that belt once. And but I really believe I can be the champion again, you know. And if I keep thinking like I'm thinking right now, you know, that I can use my speed, I can use my boxing skills, and also have my jiu-jitsu and my wrestling as a additional thing, it's gonna work very well, you know. Right? Actually, the champion right now, Stipe Miocic, is doing very well, and I really believe I am the guy to take that belt from him. Nobody will take that belt from him, because all these guys, of course, it's heavyweight division, but man, he's doing so well, and he's so athletic, and he hits very hard, and also he has a great wrestling skills. So it's a good champion, and also he's a nice guy. That's the better thing, you know. When you see a bunch of, you know, these guys, they start to say so many things, you know, and they are not good examples, you know. We don't need that kind of people anymore, you know. We see people like this. I know people like to see, you know, those guys who talk a lot, who promotes the fight, but we don't need that kind of energy, you know. And I'm glad that Stipe Miocic is the champion right now, and I think he will keep being until I get there.
Welcome back to the MMA Roadshow. That was Junior Dos Santos, the former UFC heavyweight champion. Seems to be healthy, seems to be in good spirits. Man, he looked fantastic earlier this year. Bummer that he had to sit out for a little bit after that, because he looked fantastic in April. And he wants a big fight when he comes back. I don't think he can jump in to a title fight. I don't think he can jump into a #1 contenders fight. I don't know, maybe something, a Josh Barnett type fight, something like that. I mean, that could be something that makes sense. I don't know that would necessarily serve as a #1 contender fight for Josh Barnett, but maybe it could for Junior Dos Santos. So some interesting fights there. Maybe, I don't know if Derek Lewis is victorious over Marcin Tybura a month from now. Maybe Junior Dos Santos versus Derek Lewis? I don't know. It could be fun. Those are two of my favorite guys in the heavyweight division, so I'd hate to see them face off against each other. But you know, be a hell of a fight stylistically. That's for damn sure. So a lot going on with the heavyweight division. That's good. Hey, listen. Even though it is vacation, we're still doing this. So if you like what you're listening to, do me a favor. Go into iTunes, subscribe. Make sure you take a second, rate us, review us. That helps us out a lot. It helps us blow up the podcast a little bit. Those nice ratings. You could be like my man Angus Bryan, who logged in and gave us 5 stars. He said, quite simply, great show to listen to with frosty beverages. Can't say it any better than that. That's all we're asking for right there. I did look at the Mexican store, the Mexican iTunes store while I was here, and no reviews in the Mexican iTunes store. What's up? What's up, Mexico? ¿Dónde está? Órale. Vámonos, vatos. Dame 5 estrellas, por favor. Or something like that. I guess I'd start doing the podcast in Spanish if I want any Mexican reviews. All right, listen. So UFC 205, that's something that's coming together, right? You're hearing all these fight announcements. It seems like the card is pretty much laid out. It does seem like they really want Conor McGregor and to fight for the lightweight title against Eddie Alvarez in that main event, which would be huge. And I'm sure Conor wants to do it as well. He did have that suspension earlier, but you guys are hardcores. When that 6-month suspension comes out, all you need is one doctor to say, hey, he's good to go, and he will be good to go. So you got that out there. You got Yoel Romero, Chris Weidman, Rashad Evans, Tim Kennedy, Thiago Alves, Kenta, Cerrone Gastelum. Looks like Jeremy Stevens versus Frankie Edgar. I had kind of been working on that story, and I saw some reports come out earlier today. I almost had that nailed down before the reports came out, but they beat me to it. I guess that's what happens when you're trying to work from vacation. So I think that fight is definitely going to happen as well. Jeremy Stevens, Frankie Edgar. So, big fights, to say the least. If you're asking why the hell are we getting any announcements, it's my understanding that the New York State Athletic Commission is still signing off on a couple little details here and there, getting their legislation, their regulation done, and just, crossing the T's, dotting the I's. And until then, the UFC can't announce anything. And I think they've been doing their best to keep everything under wraps so they can come out with this massive announcement. But as you guys know, anytime you have this many athletes, especially associated with a card, things just start getting out, and the UFC can't keep it under wraps. So I think they tried their damnedest. They're hoping to get approval, and I'm sure we'll see an announcement as soon as possible. Sounds like it's going to be one hell of a fight week. I know we're going to be out there in force. I think we're going to have 4 people on the ground. Willing to split up into 2 teams because I think there's just going to be so much going on from what I understand. The UFC is really going to try to blow things up in their New York debut, and understandably so. Kind of crazy that the Fertitas, Lorenzo especially, I'm sure they'll be there. I imagine the Fertitas can still get a ticket if they want to go to a UFC event, but it's crazy. This was such a huge goal of theirs to get done for so very long, and then they sell the company right before it happens. But I guess when somebody comes with a couple $1 billion in your way, you make some exceptions for goals that you wanted to accomplish. But I bet they'll still be there cage side. I know they haven't been going to UFC events, turning it over to the other people. But I got to think a night that meant so much to them, they'll be there. So I guess speaking of the Fertitas, I'm sure you probably saw they donated, Lorenzo anyway, donated $10 million to UNLV. Sadly, sorely needed out there as our college football team is terrible in Las Vegas, and hopefully an injection of funds will help build that. And I did see today that a referendum was passed to build a stadium, a $1.9 billion football stadium, to hopefully lure away the Raiders. I think $750 million of that would be public money. But from what I understand, not taxpayers' money. It would be public money generated from hotel taxes. So, yeah, you guys keep coming out to Las Vegas and staying in Las Vegas and paying for our football team, okay? Yeah, I think that's what's going on there. So we'll see some big announcements very soon. And I'm looking forward to the brief break at the end of October. But then once we get that kicking back up, that's one that'll definitely be on my radar, something I'm looking forward to. New York, I'm not going to lie, it's not my favorite place on earth. I know it's some people's favorite city in the world. But, God, just the crowdedness and the transportation and, well, the weather, too. At least it won't be terribly cold in November, I'm hoping. But I am not a northern guy. I like warm weather. But I will definitely be there. I'm looking forward to that. Madison Square Garden, it'll be a big one. So, all right, in the meantime, I did not make it to Hidalgo, Texas this week. It's crazy because I actually have some family on my wife's side down in McAllen. We could have gone and visited them. but we committed to coming down here. I'm actually attending a wedding this weekend. Thought for sure there was not going to be any UFC event. If you think about it, the UFC has not traditionally done Mexican Independence Day weekend because that is a big boxing holiday. That's always when Floyd Mayweather would fight. Manny Pacquiao, I think, would do it occasionally as well. But, that was always a big boxing holiday. And there is a Canelo fight in Dallas. I'm assuming, shows how the loop I am. I'm assuming it's at Texas Stadium. I don't know where the hell else he would fight in Dallas. But there is a Canelo fight on Saturday night. But the UFC decided to go ahead and do an event anyway. UFC Fight Night 94 from State Farm Arena in Hidalgo, Texas. And I'm kind of bummed I won't be there. I'm not going to lie. I really like the main event. Michael Johnson versus Dustin Poirier, two of my favorite fighters in the lightweight division, man. I like the way they bring in. Dustin Poirier really seems to be on a roll right now. And then, of course, Derek Brunson and Uriah Hall in the co-main event. That's a fantastic co-main event. And there's some names up and down the card that I'm kind of interested in. So, certainly I can understand that the casual fan, this is not going to be the sexiest card you've ever seen. But I think there's some fights on here that I'm really interested in seeing. Rick Glenn making his UFC debut, the former World Series champion, fighting against Evan Dunham. Jucao, Owen Carnero, good friend of the show, making his return to the cage. So a lot of fights on here that I'm interested in seeing. So I'm not there, but the other half of the MMA Roadshow is Cold Coffee is enjoying his first exposure of life on the Texas and Mexico border because that's where this thing is, man. It might as well be Mexico because it is right up along the border, and I think he's getting used to culture out there. I know that open workouts finished up today, and from what I understand, seeing him and Matt Erickson's social media posts, they were sweating like dogs. So let's check in with Cold Coffee and see what he's got to say about life in Hidalgo, and I believe he's got Matt Erickson with him as well.
Hey guys, Cold Coffee here. Just checking in from lovely and warm Hidalgo, Texas. To be honest, I think this is the closest I've been to the Mexico border. We're really, really close. So, unfortunately, I won't be making any trips down across the border. So, I'll just have to enjoy the Tex-Mex and tacos and things of that sort that I'm enjoying here in Hidalgo. As John said, we're here. I will say that I couldn't get Matt Erickson to join me. Man, we had some internet issues, and it's funny, even though while we are in the States, we run into internet issues all over the place, and so it's just been a bear getting stuff up. In fact, I just finished the latest episode of On the Ground that we've been doing. Trying to showcase a little bit of the locations where we're at. Unfortunately, today it was raining everywhere, so we pretty much only got to shoot inside the gym today. The Bad Boy gym, I believe is what it was called. That's where the open workouts took place today. So we got to see Derek Brunson, Uriah Hall, Michael Johnson, and Dustin Poirier working out today. And it was good. It was good. Besides the fact that it was just hot and humid and sweaty as all get out. I think I probably sweated the most inside there. It was pretty bad and pretty unbearable. A lot of times you bring equipment in from outside, say a car with AC, and then you go into an environment like that, you see everybody in there having to clear all the mist and all the fog and condensation, that forms on your gear. It was pretty crazy, but it was a good workouts today. I thought the guys looked good. Everybody looked, the weights looked good. Everybody seemed to be of good spirits. Speaking of spirits, we got to see some nice banter coming from Uriah Hall and Derek Brunson. I didn't realize there was big beef between the two, but I guess they went along and have been jawing each other, and and that kind of stems to why this fight was supposed to happen a while back and never really did. But I guess they had words at the hotel, and then they passed each other here at the venue where the workouts took place, and I guess had some more words. So definitely no love lost there. So that should be pretty exciting to see that fight play out, because these guys definitely are not digging each other, and that usually leads to lots of happy fist and face punching taking place. So good for them. That should be fun, and hopefully that will squash the beef if it is even in fact real beef. Not that the emotions aren't real. Just a lot of times I think some of this stuff happens as just silly stuff that starts, and eventually, nobody squashes it, and it becomes something bigger than what it really is. So, do I think these guys really despise each other? Probably not, but, they're probably not the biggest fans of each other. Brunson went on to say that he was hoping to beat up Uriah and finish him because of all the, how he treats fans and whatnot. Like he needs to be the guy chaperoning or being the champion for all these fans that don't get autographs from Uriah, maybe, or something. But who knows? So it should be interesting. And looking forward to Dustin Poirier and Michael Johnson. I think that's a really, really good fight. Johnson's been having a nagging shoulder injury for quite some time, and supposedly he's addressed it. He's got the surgery, and he says he's feeling really good. So is he 100%? Probably not, but he's probably as close as he's going to get right now, at least at this point, obviously. But maybe it's as good as it's going to get, so it should be good. But he's fighting a Dustin Poirier that now is a man on a mission. He's got a little baby to feed now, and he has a wife to provide for, and he's taking that shit really seriously. So it's good to see a guy that's really found an extra way to stay motivated and really force him to keep pushing harder and harder, and so good for him. But he seems he seems the part of the happy father, so good for him. And I know a win would go a long way to help out there. So good times. So we're looking forward to more good stuff happening. We got the early weigh-ins kicking off tomorrow, bright and early. And so that should be fun, and then we'll definitely bring that stuff to you. As for Hidalgo, there is not much around this particular area. I'm at an Airbnb spot about 6 minutes away from the host hotel, and in turn about 10 minutes from the venue, which is a few minutes, or what seems like a few minutes, or 10 minutes or less, whatever, from the Mexican border. It's pretty close from what I heard, but I haven't been down there to see myself. So once I get down there and take a peek at that, I'll give you guys an update. There won't be, and John might say this later on in his segment before I toss it back, there will not be a post show for this. So a post bonus show, I should say. That's usually just if me and John are together. So if he doesn't say that already, I'm just going to get that out of the way. But I'm going to toss it back over to John. I know you guys want to hear, he would much rather hear the sweet, dulcet tones of Mr. Morgan's voice over mine. But just want to check in, let you know that we got boots on the ground here in Hidalgo. We're going to bring you the best coverage that we can and get that to you guys. And yeah, thanks for listening. I'll toss you back over to John. Thanks.
Welcome back to the MMA Roadshow. Cold Coffee checking in from the road in Texas. We got you covered. Even when I'm on vacation, the other half of the show's got you covered from on scene. You know how we do. We take you everywhere. That's what's up. You want coverage on the ground from UFC Fight Week? You come to us. We got you taken care of. And I promise as soon as this weekend's over, I'll be right back in the flow of things. I'm actually looking forward to being in Brazil next week, UFC Fight Night 95. Not the greatest Brazilian city. It's the capital, Brasilia. It's not terrible, but I'm just kind of partial to Rio de Janeiro. When you can finish work and you can walk out on the beach, sit down in a little plastic chair and order yourself a frosty beverage for the equivalent of about 50 cents as the ocean breeze rolls in. Come on, man. You got to love that. But we get to see Chris Cyborg in the main event against Lena Landsberg, who, by all accounts, has a little attitude. She's kind of feisty and believes that, she can get in there and mix it up a little bit with Cyborg. She's not overwhelmed, and we've heard a lot of people say that, but at the end of the day, they do look kind of overwhelmed, especially once they get hit. So we'll check that out. Renan Barão in the co-main event against Philippe Nover, and then Roy Nelson, Antonio Silva. Paul Felder versus Francisco Trinaldo. That's a fun fight at lightweight. Juicer Formiga on the prelims against Dustin Ortiz. I like that fight. Again, one of those ones that top heavy, of course, but a couple little fights and little stories in the card that I'm interested to watch and to see. So that'll be back on the road in Brasilia next week. In the meantime, I am enjoying my time here in Mexico. I'm going to keep things relatively brief, just because if not, I'll start getting the evil eye from my family. You understand how it goes. At least we're doing this. But before I do that, I did want to share a pretty cool interview I had, I thought, with Cat Zingano earlier this week before I headed down to Mexico. Now, I'm going to end up writing a piece on this as well, so you'll see something on the website as well. But I just thought a very open and honest interview, and because of it, I did want to share it here. She's talked about making the decision to leave Colorado behind, at least for now, and kind of reinvent herself down in Southern California, training with Alliance. Kind of mentions her mindset and really having just a complete lack of focus, and you'll hear her talk about the way things unfolded at UFC 200. It's pretty interesting, and she brings up some points about why she is reinventing herself. And I don't know. I thought it was a good interview, and while I will have a written piece up probably early next week on MMAjunkie, since I probably won't be able to get to it right now, I did want you guys to be able to hear the full interview, and hopefully you enjoy her honesty and reflection as much as I did. All right, well, I just want to start out by going back a little bit. I mean, UFC 200, big moment for you. It was a big comeback fight, and they didn't give you an easy one in coming back, that's for sure. So, things didn't go your way, but how did you feel about your performance that night and just the way it worked out?
Initially, I just want to give props to Juliana. She pulled it off, and she did well, and I know and expect and look forward to seeing each other in there again. But I was not my normal self that night. I was not 100% focused on the fight that day. And, it definitely was a catalyst in me making some big changes. So it is not something that I can be too hard on myself for, because, one, I got back in there, and I had a really good first round. I met a lot of goals. I met a lot of goals leading up to the fight. I was able to listen to my corner, which is something that I, have had struggles with, because I just kind of get that tunnel vision when I fight. And, so obviously I didn't get the win, but I won in a lot of different ways by just, succeeding in different areas. And learning what I needed to learn in order to improve on the things I can improve on. Nothing happened in that fight that can't be fixed. It wasn't, there was never a moment I think I even gasped. I wasn't tired. I just, I lost focus. I lost concentration. And, again, those are all things that I can work on. So, I don't know. I'm just happy to be back in the mix, and I look forward to being more consistent.
You said that, even on fight day, you weren't focused and you weren't dialed in. I mean, are you able to pinpoint what it was? I mean, it seems like this was such a huge moment for you. You'd been away for so long. I would think that would be like, ultra focused, but were there some distractions, or what was going on?
Yeah, just, some things going on with me that, I guess I can't, without getting specific, I just, I just had my mind on some things that kind of came up quickly, and I guess in my personality, I expected to handle them in a different way, but it came out in the middle of the fight. Right after the first round was over, all of a sudden my head was everywhere but in that cage, and it was shocking to me. I was extremely surprised that that kind of thing could even happen to me. I mean, sometimes in the cage, I feel like it's my sanctuary. I mean, life shuts down outside of those octagon walls, and it's just me and my opponent and our breath and our goals and everything like that. And that was the first time in my entire career that I just wasn't in there with myself. There's been moments where I felt a little bit out of body, and it took me a minute to wake up, but I was never just not in the cage. So, bravo to her. I mean, she had a great day that day, and found me on a not so great day, and it really sucks to put so much time and effort into getting ready for that day to just not have the pieces fall together the way that I planned and the way my coaches planned, and all the work and everything that goes into it. But that's, life, and could be worse, could be better, but always could be worse. So, I just take it as a lesson, and I know what to do about that, so I can adjust, and I guess that's what I get to take away from it.
That's interesting. So, I mean, I know you're not trying to make excuses or whatever, but just to be clear, like, I mean, you can remember moments in this fight without going too much into, necessarily specifics, but you can remember moments in the fight where you're in the middle of an actual fight and your head is thinking about whatever these issues are that you had to deal with?
Yeah, so, I mean, like, but it was weird, it didn't happen in the first round. The first round, it was just like, same old cat smash, it was just like, fucking get her, and then, partway into the second round, it's like, all of a sudden I'm looking at my knees and they're bleeding, and then I'm like, oh, her beam, wow, check that out, here's my rest, that's awesome, and then I'm like, oh, there's Joe Rogan, I can hear his voice, and I remember looking outside of the octagon and seeing, like, a chick with a big old silver necklace on and wondering, like, who was she? Why does she have that seat? And all the way to the kind of weirdness of the night, like, I don't know if it was the demographic of the fans that were there because maybe the tickets were more expensive than normal, or, the fact that it was UFC 200 and it's just a different crowd, but it was quiet, it was an odd, like, energy in the room that night. It didn't have, it's like normally coaches have to scream at you for you to hear them, and I could hear my coaches and her coaches just talking, and that is, it's crazy to me. It's weird to me to even notice those things, and I don't know, I've never just not been in it like that, and it was totally weird. I remember wondering how much time was left. I remember, one thing that just constantly was on my mind is like, well, she's not going to finish me. Right. I don't care. Like, at this point, like, clearly I'm looking around and I'm not tired. I'm not whatever. I'm just not in it, and I, it's just like, she tries to put me in the guillotine. She tries to put me in all these things. Like, I was like, no, I'm not going to let her hit me hard. Like, I'm going to, stay in these awkward, I guess, tight positions or weird kind of balanced things, or I'm going to, I don't know, but she's not going to finish me. Like, fuck that. So I'm not, I don't know.
Crazy.
So
you ended up, I mean, because that night you ended up making some changes. I guess I saw on social media where you posted, that you had kind of packed everything up and were going on a road trip. And from what I gather, it looked like you were training down at Alliance, maybe, or what's the plan right now?
Yeah, so oddly enough, like I said, my focus was off, like, right in the middle of the fight is when, like, the last couple years, I've had this, like, I've been traveling and training and going everywhere. Colorado right now is, I love Colorado and I love Team Elevation, and, like, that is my family, and there's nothing that I'm leaving there in a negative manner. Like, I'm leaving the same door that I walked into, and but the thing is, Colorado holds some complicated emotions for myself and my son, and I think, we needed the change. In the last couple of years, I've traveled from gym to gym to gym, and, like, gone and learned from all kinds of people, and just kind of, like, put my feelers out to see, like, where am I motivated? Where do I belong? Like, do I want to change? Is this the change? I don't know. And I've been waiting for that light bulb to go off. And the craziest, crappiest thing is that I didn't, like, I tried out Alliance. I was all in. I did my entire training camp there. I sacrificed time with my son. I went back and forth to Colorado the entire trip, spending my rest days on an airplane and playing tag with my son, so I really didn't get that biology, like, dialed in as much as I wanted to, but he needed me and I needed him. And, like I said, halfway through the fight, all of a sudden I'm like, I need out of here. Not out of here, this octagon. Like, I need my son. Like, I need this change. Like, I love Coach Eric Del Fierro. Like, I loved my training partners. I loved the people in San Diego, and it's crazy to me, but the light bulb, like, went off in the middle of that fight where it was like, okay, like, I have physically and motivationally everything that I need to do this, you know, but I want to do it now. Like, I want to talk to Eric, like, right now. I want to tell him, like, give me to San Diego. I want to be in San Diego. Like, how are we going to do this? Tell me, you know. And so the fight's over, and we go in the back, and I mean, I'm sad, I'm upset, you know, but like, to have that, like, the realization was huge to me, because I've been waiting for that feeling. I've been looking for that feeling for over 2 years. You know, I have no affiliation, no. I guess I don't even recommend. My gym in Colorado, Zingano Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it's over. It's done. I have nothing to do with them, and I don't know. You know, it was hard to train there and have that gym still exist with the complicated ghosts that it still had with it. You know, and to be able to find that feeling, that like family kind of feeling, that motivated feeling that I found at Alliance, I'm like extremely grateful for. And so as soon as I got Eric alone for a minute after that fight, I was just like, I want to make this work. I want my son. Like, I got to do this. How do we do this? And he's like, really? Like, right now we're talking about this? Like, this is, you know, he's like, what happened? I was like, I just know, you know, I know it's time. And, so I got back to Colorado. The next day was my son's birthday, and, I kind of prefaced it and primed it a little bit for him, and like told him, you know, how it was cool, and, you know, it's basically the same, but you trade the mountains for water, and it'd be a fresh start. And what did he think? And he, you know, he was game. He missed me too, and it didn't work for either of us to be apart, for me to be in training camp. Like, I fight for love, and I fight for my family, and to not have my family, it just didn't feel complete.
Wow. How old is your son now?
He's 10.
Okay, so I mean, you really had to consider how this affected him too. I mean, this is not just, I mean, obviously you've got to chase your dreams, but you really had to, I'm sure, spend some time thinking about how it affects his life as well.
Right, and when he's my motivation, and I have to put him, I mean, it's a selfish sport. You know, we have to be selfish, and to be selfish as a parent, like, that sucks. Like, that doesn't work. And I want, I do this for him. So to not include him and not see him and not have him see me and have me, like, it wasn't right. It didn't feel good. You know, I wanted, I don't know, that kind of thing. Just, it's not right. It's not right for me or for him.
So it's still relatively new right now, but I guess how's it working? Does it feel right now like it was the right choice?
Yeah, I mean, it feels good. Like, I'm excited. I'm motivated. Like, I think being at sea level is, you know, physically, like, helpful for me. You know, Colorado has that great high altitude, and altitude is great for training. You know, it's great for building up that cardio, but it's not necessarily good for healing and recovery. And, you know, obviously in this sport, we're getting beat up on different levels, you know, especially with head injuries, especially with, you know, just the physiology of what's going on inside of our bodies, you know, and to be messing with that all the time, especially as a woman, and, you know, all those things are just, it's not optimal for what we're doing, and especially for as long as I've been doing it. You know, I've been doing combative sports and being, you know, hit in the head for, you know, since I was 12 years old. So that's, I think my body's had enough, and I'm going to try to treat it a little bit, if not a lot better, in between fights, which I think giving it, you know, less stress as far as the rest and the recovery down here.
I hadn't thought about that. That does make a lot of sense as far as the recovery goes. It's difficult to do at high altitude. That's kind of interesting.
I mean, if you think about it, why your cardio ends up being so good up there is because you're putting that stress in your body to have to work under pressure. Well, when you're putting all of that energy into your heart beating and your lungs working and the thin air and just, you know, the ways you have to acclimate to just function, but now you have an injury, or you have a sickness, or you have insomnia, or you have whatever, like those body hygiene things, they start to add up, and it eventually can ask too much of your body. And I don't think that people see the flip side of what those, athletic stressors are when you're maybe not as healthy.
Yeah, no doubt. That's interesting. All right, well, so things are going good in California there, and I guess, are you starting to think about booking another fight, or are you just kind of getting settled in? What's your plan right now?
Yeah, so I wanted to fight right away. As soon as the fight was over, again, I wanted to move, and I wanted to get back on the card. I wanted to maintain being in shape and continue. But, one thing I really respect about Eric is he's like, let's get you settled. Let's get these things worked on, let's get your focus dialed in and handle the things that we can handle. Nothing was wrong in that fight as far as my technique, as far as my cardio, as far as my skill. Like, everything went right. It was just the things that didn't go right. Okay, let's work on those. And so, I'm putting work into that. I'm getting, I don't know. And being around like Dominic and seeing all the smaller guys that I have here to train with, because they come and they flock to him, is awesome. And, knowing that Dominic knows exactly what it's like to hold the bantamweight title, like that, and defend it. Like, I want to be around that. I see how hard he works. And if I can work as hard as him, like, there's no reason that I can't have what he has. So it's a cool gauge to have, and it's just, I don't know, I'm very motivated here, and I'm excited, and I'm happy. It's, I'm naturally introverted, so this, the change of actually, like, socially moving and changing and, all of that, like, that's probably the biggest struggle. But, the work ethic is there, and the desire is there, and the goals are there, and that's what I've been looking for, that feeling. So
that's awesome.
Here I am.
So it sounds like the next time we see you, it is kind of really a new chapter for you.
It is. It's a completely new chapter. I got to close a lot of things in order to come out here, which is very cathartic on one level. I also just recently did a documentary. I haven't really wanted to talk much about my journey these last couple years, and I agreed to do that. They supported me being able to come out to Alliance in the first place. So as long as they could follow me, and again, like I said, I'm introverted, and I don't really like to talk about myself and my stuff, but that was terrifying for me, and I did it, and I felt better. Like, it was cathartic to be able to tell my story and finally, like, I guess, process it and see, and I guess explain, like, what my story is, and put it together for myself. And that, was big, and it kind of gave me the courage to go home and, like, go through the things that I'd been avoiding going through, and that I didn't even realize were hurting me as much as they were.
Wow. Awesome. All right, well, it's good catching up with you, Kat. I appreciate you sharing everything and kind of giving me the update. Any other, last thoughts, messages, anything like that you want to make sure that we get out there for you?
Yeah, so I guess just as Alliance, like, like I said, I'm super and truly grateful for all of the teammates, all the coaches, everything that I've had, especially, in the recovery stages of everything that's gone on with me. Like, I've had an overwhelming amount of support, and I'm truly, truly grateful. I'm probably going to start teaching a little bit at Alliance, privately teaching people and doing things like that. I want to give back to the school, and also I just love that shit. Like, I used to teach it when I had my gym. I loved teaching, but a big part of that, I just had to turn that energy on myself and get myself ready for these fights. But, I'm excited to start doing that again.
Welcome back to the MMA Roadshow. That was Cat Zingano, UFC Women's Bantamweight contender. Had some ups and downs over her life, that's for sure. And Yeah, trying to right the ship once again. I thought just her candor was very intriguing. Kind of talking about the her gym, not, that bears her name in Colorado, but not really having any association with it. And of course, kind of having the the ghost, so to speak, the difficult emotions. Can't be easy to deal with, man. She is powered through, but can't be easy to deal with. And of course, being a single mom, raising a son as well, a lot to consider there. So I don't know if that's cool. I also thought that kind of science, and I had never really thought about that. I should say, by the way, that she went out of her way to say, like, when she is in Colorado, she will go back to Elevation Fight Team and train there. Has nothing but love for him, but is just trying to do something a little bit different. But I don't know if there's any science behind it or not, but I was kind of intrigued by what she said about the fact that maybe being at high altitude all the time isn't great for recovery and isn't great for your body. Just thinking about it logically, it does make sense. I mean, if we all agree that you put yourself at high altitude to kind of stress the body a little bit, and the result of that is it makes things better. I mean, doesn't it make sense that the body needs the flip side of that as well to recover, to maybe come down out of the high altitude and give yourself something to recover with? I don't know. It's interesting because I mean, I think about those sleep chambers that people had for a while that were basically supposed to simulate high altitude. So I don't know. I don't know if there's any science there, but it just logically, at least, it seems to make some sense. And I guess sometimes in this game, maybe it doesn't matter if it's true or not. Maybe it's just what you tell yourself and what your body believes, and that's what really matters. So anyway, all right. Well, listen. For all of your coverage needs this weekend, UFC Fight Night 94. Check in with Cold Coffee. Check in with Matt Erickson. They're down there on the ground in Hidalgo, Texas, getting things done for MMAjunkie and the MMA Roadshow. Saturday night, I'm gonna be trying to watch it. I'm gonna be at a wedding, so I'm probably not supposed to have like my phone out and watching Fight Pass. But I mean, if nobody notices, right? It is what it is. So I would be trying to watch. I want that. I'll be a fan like everybody else that night. And then after that, I'll be back home and back on the road. So anyway, listen, I appreciate you putting up with me and Cold Coffee being apart. I apologize. We couldn't go, quite as deep as we normally do. But listen, I'm trying to see my 4-year-old son, man. I'm trying to see my wife. I haven't seen him in a month. And it's pretty wild. As much time as I spend on the road, man. Thank God for technology. Thank God that we can actually stay in touch every day with FaceTime and WhatsApp and Skype and all the post videos on YouTube and Facebook and whatever else. Thank God for all that stuff that I can at least remotely stay in touch. But of course, nothing is as good as being there and just getting a hug from that little dude, man. Nothing means as much. But all that said, I did not want to not do an edition of the MMAjunkie Road Show. We never have. 77 straight weeks, my friends. We have not skipped a beat, and we never will as far as I'm concerned. Damn it, I'm just making that proclamation right now, which probably means something will happen next week. I thought I forgot my recorder for a second today. I thought for sure we were screwed, but luckily I found it. So anyway, listen, hopefully you enjoyed this edition, and we'll get back to normal next week. Myself, Cold Coffee will be down in Brazil. Fernanda Prates, of course, our Brazilian correspondent, will be there as well. I'm sure we can count on her to check in as well. So in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy this little vacation. And I'm going to watch some fights, hopefully with you guys this weekend. And sincerely, thanks for listening.